Imagine if every time a species reproduced, there was a real chance someone could die. You would probably think that species was badly designed. Well, that species is us. Human childbirth is one of the most painful and dangerous birth processes in the animal kingdom. And the strangest part? Nature had hundreds of thousands of years to fix it, but it never did. A horse can walk within hours of being born. A baby deer can run on its first day. A human baby? It can't even hold its own head up. It can't walk. It can't run. It can't even survive on its own for a single day. In fact, many scientists believe human babies are born earlier than they should be. Not by days, not by weeks, but by months. And the reason why reveals one of evolution's strangest compromises, a compromise that turned childbirth into one of the most dangerous moments in human history. Now imagine you are a woman living 50,000 years ago. No hospitals, no doctors, no medicine, no emergency surgery. One day, you realize you're pregnant. And suddenly, your entire future becomes uncertain. Because for most of human history, pregnancy was not just exciting, it was terrifying. Today, pregnancy feels normal. People announce it on social media. They decorate nurseries. They buy tiny clothes. They argue about baby names. 50,000 years ago, pregnancy meant something very different. It meant survival. Every woman knew the risks. She had seen them before. A sister who never came back from childbirth. A friend who lost a baby. A mother who died too young. These stories existed in every tribe. Because birth was never guaranteed, the strange thing is that humans suffer this problem more than almost any other mammal. And the reason starts with two things that made us human: walking upright and having big brains. Those two advantages changed everything, and they accidentally created a problem that evolution never fully solved. Our ancestors stood up on two legs. That made walking more efficient. But it also narrowed the pelvis. Then our brains started getting bigger. Bigger brains meant smarter humans. Smarter humans built tools, language, culture, and eventually civilization. But bigger brains also meant bigger heads, and eventually evolution found itself trapped. Babies needed larger heads, mothers needed narrower hips. The result? Human babies barely fit through the birth canal. Sometimes only a few centimeters separate life from death. Imagine trying to push a watermelon through an opening that was never designed for it. That is basically the problem evolution created, and women have been dealing with it for hundreds of thousands of years. Here's another strange fact. Human babies are among the most helpless creatures on Earth. A foal stands within hours. A calf follows its mother the same day. Many animals can move almost immediately. Human babies? They spend months learning how to hold their head, months learning how to sit, and more than a year learning how to walk. Why? Because they leave the womb before they are fully ready. Scientists sometimes call this the obstetric dilemma. If babies stayed inside longer, their heads would become too large to pass through the mother's pelvis. So evolution chose another solution: get them out early, very early. Human babies are essentially unfinished, not because nature failed, but because it ran out of options. The result is something unique. Human childhood became incredibly long, and that changed everything about our species because no mother could raise a child completely alone. She needed help. The father, grandparents, friends, the tribe. And this may be one reason humans became so social in the first place. Our survival depended on cooperation. Long before cities. Long before governments. Long before money. Humans survived because humans helped each other. Once a woman became pregnant, the entire tribe paid attention, not because they were being kind, because a healthy mother meant a healthy future. Hunter-gatherer groups could not afford to lose people. Every adult mattered. Every child mattered. Pregnant women often reduced dangerous tasks. Others helped gather food, carry supplies, watch children, and share knowledge. Older women were especially important. Some had experienced multiple pregnancies. Some had helped deliver dozens of babies. Long before medical schools existed, these women became experts, not through books, but through experience. Generation after generation, thousands of births, thousands of lessons, passed from mother to daughter, grandmother to granddaughter. In many ways, they were the first medical professionals in human history, and they learned something modern science only confirmed recently. Birth works best when women feel safe, supported, and calm. Stress can slow labor. Fear can complicate delivery. The ancient world understood this without laboratories. They learned it simply by watching what worked and what didn't. Then the day finally arrived. Labor could last hours, sometimes days. The tribe already knew what to do. This was not panic, this was preparation. Women surrounded the mother, not strangers. People she trusted, people she had known her entire life. Unlike modern hospitals, ancient women rarely gave birth lying on their backs. Most squatted, kneeled, or stood, using gravity to help the baby descend. And surprisingly, modern research suggests those positions often make labor easier. Some ancient knowledge turned out to be remarkably effective. Of course, things still went wrong. A baby could be positioned badly. Bleeding could become severe. Infection could appear. And without modern medicine, many of these complications were deadly. That is the part we should never romanticize. Ancient life was not easy. It was dangerous. But despite all of that, humanity survived. Not because childbirth was safe, but because communities became incredibly good at supporting mothers. Ancient people noticed pregnancy cravings long before science existed. Some women suddenly wanted unusual foods. Others avoided foods they normally loved. Today we know hormones play a major role. Back then it probably looked like magic. Another strange fact: pregnancy actually changes the mother's brain. Modern scans show that certain brain regions physically reorganize during pregnancy, helping mothers become more attentive to their babies. In other words, pregnancy doesn't just create a child, it partially rewires the parent. And here's perhaps the strangest fact of all. For most of human history, every single person who ever lived entered the world through the same process. Kings, hunters, warriors, scientists, inventors, every empire, every civilization, every famous person, every ordinary person, all began with one woman taking the same risk, giving birth. When people think about human success, they usually think about intelligence, technology, fire, tools, language. But those things came later. Long before any of that, humanity needed something simpler. Mothers who survived, children who survived, communities willing to help them. That may be the real secret behind our species, not strength, not intelligence, not even technology, cooperation. Because for hundreds of thousands of years, every human life began in the same fragile way, and nobody made it alone. This is Red Tie. If this video made you think, leave a like. And subscribe for more videos about humanity, psychology, and the strange history behind modern life. And remember, before humans built civilizations, they learned how to protect each other, and that may be the reason any of us are here today.